Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Bulls get good news about $20 million All-Star trade candidate. Chicago Bulls head coach Billy Donovan looks on against the Charlotte Hornets. The Chicago Bulls have found little trade interest in their two priciest players, two-time former All-Stars Nikola and Zach LaVine. However, as the 2024-25 trade deadline draws near, that could be changing. The Athletic's Anthony Slater, Marcus Thompson and Sam Amick explained that the Golden State Warriors prefer a trade for Victor 1 for Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler. They even provided the rough outline of a trade for the Bulls and Warriors. Sans draft capital Nikola has actually emerged as the more discussed Warriors trade target according to team and league sources. The front office and coaching staff have acknowledged back to training camp this team's need for a true stretch center, something Stephen Curry has never really had there. Athletics trio wrote on January 4. In theory, he'd get protected on defense by Draymond Green while opening up offensive space for Curry, Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan King. Stack up Gary Payton's $9.1 million with Kyle Anderson's $8.7 million and a small contract like Lindy Waters' 3 at $2.2 million, and it actually nudges a smidge over Vic's $20 million. Then it just becomes about what draft capital gets a deal like that done, and Vic, while productive, won't break the asset bank. This heavy sports trade proposal builds off the framework provided by Amick, Slater and Thompson. The Bulls would get 2 second-round picks in the deal. Vic is having a resurgent season. He is averaging 20.4 points, 10.1 rebounds and 3.3 assists this season. He is also shooting 55.8% from the floor and 43.6% from beyond the arc. His bounce-back campaign has not helped the Bulls move off the number 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. Vucevic suggested he could explore signing with another team in free agency. Indiana 20123. He ultimately resigned before it began and is now in year TW of a 3-year $60 million contract. Anderson is under contract for 2 more seasons as part of a 3-year $27.6 million pact, but the Bulls would save nearly $1 million against the salary cap in 2025 5-26 with this steal, and Anderson's $9.6 million salary in the final year of the deal could buoy another trade. Financially, there is a significant difference between Vic being the more desired potential trade target and wanting to make a move for him. Players like Vucevic or Johnson don't arrive with nearly the upside as Butler, who has done it as an alpha on the biggest playoff stage. Perhaps passing on Butler means giving up even the tiniest sliver of probability remaining that this Warriors core could enter the realistic title mix this season. Amick, Slater and Thompson wrote, but there's a heavy amount of current and future risk, and while maintaining they still want to be competitive in Curry's fading years, it's clear the front office and ownership group is protective of the seasons beyond Curry, Green and Ceres. If the primary figures aren't clamoring for Butler, and they aren't, the Warriors brass seem to prefer long-term maneuverability over a theoretical short-term solution. Nobody seems to believe too staunchly in any way. Warriors Kuminga out at least 3 weeks with ankle sprain. Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga will be re-evaluated in 3 weeks after an MRI confirmed he suffered a significant lateral right ankle sprain. The team said Sunday Kuminga sustained the injury late in the second quarter of Saturday's 121-113 win over the Memphis Grizzlies when he landed awkwardly in the paint and rolled his right ankle. He left the game immediately after and left Chase Center on crutches. Following the win, he underwent an MRI on Sunday. Kuminga had been in the midst of his best career stretch, receiving more opportunity and being utilized as a primary scorer at times. He averaged 20.5 points over the past 14 games, but now the Warriors will be without their most explosive athlete for at least 3 weeks. He will miss at least 11 games. Warriors coach Steve Kerr called losing Kuminga brutal. The 22-year-old is averaging a career-high 16.8 points and 5 rebounds per game this season. Last month he became the first Warriors player with 30 points or more in consecutive games off the bench since Cassie Russell in 1974. The Warriors are already without Brandon Podmski, ABDL tightness and Gary Payton 2 calf. I'm just glad we have the depth that we do, K said Saturday. I'm glad we have Kyle Anderson. There was a reason we signed him and Buddy Hield. We added a lot of depth for this reason to be able to withstand some injuries. It's going to be tough. JK has been playing the best basketball of his career these last couple of weeks, so we're going to miss him, but Kyle will fill in well. Golden State Warriors targeting trade for All-Star. Enjoying career year after years of being an annual championship contender, the Golden State Warriors are trying to figure out how to return to the NBA's top tier. The team has a certain sense of urgency, realizing that a 36-year-old Stephen Curry's window to win is running out, but the Warriors enter NBA games today sitting in 8th place of the Western Conference with an 8-15-6 record if they want to return to the NBA Finals for the first time since the 2021-22 season. Executive Mike Dunleavy might have to make significant changes to the Warriors roster, yet there's enough speculation to suggest Golden State is considering a blockbuster trade in the near future. There are several players currently involved in the latest NBA trade rumors. Jimmy Butler has stolen the headlines. The Golden State Warriors have been mentioned as a potential landing spot for the 5-time All-NBA swingman, but there's another trade candidate who could be a more reasonable target. According to The Athletic, Chicago Bulls All-Star big man Vucevic has been the target that has been more discussed within the Warriors front office. They added that a Butler trade is unlikely while focusing the attention on players like Vucevic instead, who is also widely believed to be available. Nikola has actually emerged as the more discussed Warriors trade target. According to team and league sources, the front office and coaching staff have acknowledged back to training camp this team's need for a true stretch center, something Curry has never really had. Vucevic is making 44% of his nearly 5 threes per game this season and averaging 20.3 points per game. In theory, he'd get protected on defense by Green while opening up offensive space for Curry, Wiggins and Kuminga, while Butler may bring in more fanfare, generating headlines along the way. There's a strong case to be made that acquiring the 34-year-old Vucevic makes more sense, especially considering he's making just $20 million this season compared to Butler's $48.7 million salary, plus Vic is signed through next season, whereas Butler is expected to opt out of his player option and hit the open market in search of another big contract extension. And you fan, what do you think of the situation of Nikola? Leave your opinion in the comments.